Wow. Wow, that's all I gotta say, man. The Utah Jazz just overpaid for that man, Rudy Gobert. They overpaid for him. Like, that man, Rudy Gobert, ooh, he finessed the bag, bro. He finessed it. And, congrats to him. He got his money. He got what he deserved. He worked hard for it. He's an amazing player. I love him as a player, not gonna lie. So, congrats to him. For him, I'm hyped for it. Now, if I'm a Utah Jazz fan, I'm kind of looking at this. I'm like, damn, our flexibility is not going to be that good in the upcoming years. Now, as a pure basketball move, in terms of does re-signing Rudy Gobert make us better or like keep us as a really good team? Yes, it's a good basketball move to re-sign him if you don't look at the money stuff. But they're paying this man about 40 million a year for the next 5 years. And I just want to be very clear on the fact that I'm not saying Rudy Gobert is a bad player. Like I said, I love him as a player. He's a great player. I just don't know if centers, especially defensive oriented ones that aren't that great on offense, are worth that kind of money anymore. Actually, that's the kind of thing that's been discussed in the NBA community pretty much for the past 2 or 3 years. It's like, is it worth paying a center 30 to 40 million dollars instead of just getting a guy for like $4 million or $5 million a year that can do 70% of what that $30 million player can do, and then you just go out and get you a guard that can do a lot more than that center could have did, but you still have a defensive center that's pretty good, but just not a star. That's what a lot of people have been discussing. They're like, why would you overpay for Andre Drummond when you can just get like JaVale McGee or Dwight Howard? Like, they can play defense, they can get rebounds, yeah, they can catch lobs. That's all we need them to do, man. I mean, the Warriors proved it to us firsthand. They've won a championship with just JaVale McGee and Kevin Looney as their center rotation. So you don't need a great center to win a championship. So now you gotta look at it like, we're paying $40 million of our cap space to a defensive minded center who's a great defensive center, but he's gonna provide us very little on offense. And we're sacrificing all that cap space that could have went possibly to elite point guard or a wing that can play defense and be great on offense, be a good playmaker, just be more versatile. And so you're looking at it like, damn, that kind of caps us out. Like, I don't know if this Utah team can ever be a contender the way they are, if you know what I'm saying. Like, the makeup of their team currently, I don't know if they ever be a contender. And even on the defensive side, why Rudy Gobert, yes, is one of the best paint defenders in the NBA, if not the best paint defender. Like, by far, he's one of the best. Um, when people like James Harden bring him out well into the mid range area or well beyond the 3 point line, he starts to not be that great at defense. All right, if I had to give it to him, he's a pretty decent or kind of average defender for perimeter defender for centers and like his body type was. But compared to how elite he is on the inside, literally, if you draw him out to the outside, he's useless because he's not that great on offense. And if you have him guarding the perimeter, he's not doing what he's getting paid $40 million a year to do. So there will be certain teams like that, I think, that will just come up with schemes, and the Jav will get it out coats maybe, and Rudy Gobert will just end up defending on the perimeter a lot, and that takes him out of the entire game, man. That is one way to take Rudy Gobert out of the entire game. Now, in terms of did they even have a choice, honestly? Like, for real, if they don't extend him and they trade him for pennies on the dollar or he leaves, I mean, they're losing a top 25 player for basically nothing. And they've already gave away one of their future draft picks to the Grizzlies. And I just don't think they want to be in that situation because right now they are a perennial playoff appearance team, I guess if you want to call them. And they've actually had second round a lot. I mean, for ever since the Donovan Mitchell era started, besides this year, but they were up 3-1. They damn sure should have made it, but they choked. So they go from being a playoff team every single year, making their fans happy, giving them something good to watch, being a really good team, and really is having a chance to maybe make it to the second round, maybe make it to the third. You might not be a championship contender, but at least you're a really good team. And I feel like people underrate that these days. They're like, oh, if you're not going to win a championship, what's the point? Blah, blah, blah. And of course, you always want to better yourself because the ultimate goal is win a championship. So if you're not going to win one, you kind of want to better yourself so you can win one in the future sooner rather than later. But at the same time, do you want to be the Timberwolves? Do you want to be the Sacramento Kings? I mean, going a decade and a half without making the playoffs will have an effect on your fans. I mean, I'm a Wizards fan, and I didn't even want to watch the past 2 seasons. Hardly. I mean, it's just hard to watch, man. If you go, imagine a decade and a half as a Kings fan having made the playoffs. I mean that's pathetic, man. You don't want to have that, man. So what if they gave up on Rudy Gobert and then they weren't missed the playoffs? Donovan Mitchell went out in a few years, and they went on a decade long drought of not making the playoffs. Imagine how shitty they would feel. They're like, well, damn, we could have just stuck with what we had, made the playoffs for like 5 of those years. But no, you didn't want to overpay. So it's like, pick your poison in that situation. You feel me? But in 4, 3 years, whatever it is, I was gonna say 5, but that his contract would be expired by then. Do you think we would be looking back and thinking this is a mistake, or will we think it's a good move? Now it may be kind of neutral, but it more than likely be pointing towards mistake, and it's a very uh high likelihood that it's gonna be a mistake. Not for sure thing. It could be a really good move, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. All I know is I really hope Mike Conley comes back to his form next year and Bogdan, is playing just as good as he was before his injury because they really got to prove something next year after giving Rudy Gobert all this money. All right. If you like the video, please hit that like button and subscribe button. Like, man, I love every like, every subscription. I need them all, man. All right, but I'm going to head out, y'all. It's Zot Sports. Peace out.